Welcome to the Front Seat Life podcast. This is Jessica Butts, your host and CEO and creator of Front Seat Life, where I help you be unapologetically who you are in your life, love, and business. Welcome, all of you amazing Front Seat Lifers. It is getting towards the end of the year, which always means family time, holiday time, all the wonderful things that come with spending time with our friends and family around the holidays, but it also notoriously comes with frustrations and irritations around personality type. This is one of probably my busiest times of year in terms of getting questions from listeners and viewers and people on my website and DMing me about, oh my God, my uncle or my sister or my mom or my stepdad, they're driving me crazy. I think it's a personality type thing. Can you talk to me about these things so that I can love them for who they are? So that is what today's topic is about, around navigating the holidays, about asking people to love us for who we are, but then we also need to love them for who they are. It's really about family acceptance around the holidays. So you guys know this, I love talking about personality type for a couple of reasons. One is because one side of the infinity symbol is about differentiation, which again is about acceptance, asking your family to accept you for who you are, but you also need to give them some language and framework about what that means. Self-acceptance, again, asking people to love us for who we are. But then the other side of the infinity symbol is this attunement, which is attuning to other people, who they are, why they're different, how they're different, and loving them for who they are. So this isn't always about just showing up at family gatherings and saying, this is who I am, take it or leave it, and you need to figure out who I am and what I'm all about and love me for it. But it's also, again, about figuring out who our loved ones are and our differences and how we can get along. So I wanted to take this entire episode to really talk about this in as much detail as I can, but I also have a freebie for you. So the Front Seat Life team, which is growing like crazy, by the way. I just got done spending my morning with Stephanie, who has been my assistant for, I guess I'm going to let the cat out of the bag right now. She's probably going to kill me, but she's been my dedicated, loyal, amazing assistant for many, many, many years, 3 years. And she has morphed. That girl has grown and just evolved into all kinds of different roles in this organization. And she has recently morphed into more of my creative director. She has been acting really as the director of operations, my integrator, if you're a Traction fan. And she's really interested in getting back more into just the creative director role. So Front Seat Life is hiring. We are hiring a project manager. Our team is growing like crazy. We have like 10 people now that we're working with and have contracts with, and it's just a lot. It's a lot. It's wonderful, and it's growing like crazy. And so I'm very excited to announce we are hiring an integrator role. But the whole reason that I brought all of that up was really about the fact that this amazing team of mine, thank you, Stephanie, for all of your dedicated years and continuing to be. But again, I want her to be in her front seat and to be happy as well. And with her personality type, this is a great fit. So the team, the ever-growing team, has been working very hard on getting you some freebies so that you have something tangible in your hands during these episodes. So today's freebie are a series of videos so that you can listen to this with your family, but you can also watch these short videos. There's, I think, 5 of them, and they're very, very short. They're less than 5 minutes each, and they really talk about the difference, which I'm going to go into now, but you can also download this freebie to watch it with your family on YouTube or email it to them or whatever, about introversion and extroversion, sensing and intuition, thinking and feeling, and judging and perceiving. And the differences between those dichotomies in particular, and then again, in particular, how they relate to family dynamics. So the freebie is jessicabutts.com/holidays. Again, that is Jessica Butts. It's BUTTS.com/holidays. It's completely free to you. Just go into your information and it gets sent directly to you. And it's a perfect time of the year. So if you're, in the kitchen with your mother or your mother-in-law or your sister or brother or, your daughter-in-law, somebody, whoever you're with, and there's a time when you're like, wow, I wonder if this might be something that Jessica was talking about on the podcast, and I could talk to my family about these differences so that we don't annoy the shit out of each other. We can actually learn to love each other for our differences, and learn to accept. I might not even go as far as to say love the differences, but certainly get to a place of acceptance of those differences. It's really unbelievable. I can't think of a more profound tool, hence why of all the things I learned as being a psychotherapist and graduate school and all my time as a coach, the biggest tool, the best tool that I continue to use and that I've ever used to understand myself and other people, and therefore our relationship, is this Myers-Briggs tool. And so being able to understand this and have language around it, which I provide you hopefully in this podcast, but also in that freebie, which again is jessicabutts.com/holidays, gives you an opportunity to communicate with your family about these differences so that you can have a better understanding. Because what we do as human beings is we like to pathologize each other, meaning we like to label each other and point fingers and blame each other, and you're messed up because of this and you pissed me off because of this, and learning that there's a reason, first of all, that it's innate, we were born this way, and people might not always be just trying to push our buttons. It might actually just be an innate personality trait. So let me caveat all of what I'm saying with some people are just jerks. I mean, can I just get an amen? I mean, that is true. There are people that are just challenging. There are people with personality disorders. There are people that have addictions. None of this relates to that. I want to be very clear about that, because personality type is diagnosed in a way, or assessed, that's a better word, assessed with people that are, I'm using air quotes, healthy. So an addiction is not healthy. Someone who gets, shit-faced on Thanksgiving or Christmas and wants to have a heated discussion about politics or something that is not a personality thing. Somebody who's just in a tough time in their life and they might just be being a jerk or something. I mean, I don't know what's going on there, but these are things that are, when you have a semi-healthy relationship, this is a way to go in and assess that. So with that being said, let's jump in and talk again briefly. I'm not going to spend a ton of time talking about this, because these are things that I've also discussed in the past, but I want you to have some tangible tools going into the upcoming holidays around introversion, extroversion, sensing, intuition, thinking, feeling, judging, and perceiving, of how you can see each other differently and have some acceptance and learn how to communicate. So here we go. Let's start with introversion and extroversion. So this again is all about our source of energy. Introverts gain their energy by being by themselves, or typically one-on-one conversations with people. They are not people who love the craziness that might come with 20 people at a gathering. Yet, extroverts, that is energy that we love. We love the loud and the boisterous and the engaging and the dancing and the big, loud, beautiful conversations going on. That is exciting and gives us energy. And this is what we do as human beings, is we assume everybody is like us. So if Susie, your aunt, needs a break in the middle of the day to go collect her thoughts or to regain her energy, and she needs to go for a walk, or she needs to go down the street to get some coffee. I've got a dear friend who does that. When we travel as a group, I notice that she gets up in the morning and goes and gets everyone coffee, and people always offer to help her. And she's just is like, no, I got it. And I've realized that this is her version of getting away to go spend like a half an hour by herself. And not only is she just an acts of service, like gifts person, but this is a lovely thing that she does for herself. So when somebody needs to go in the bedroom and disappear for a little while, or they want to sit in the corner and not talk to anybody, but simply observe, there's nothing wrong with them. They're not angry. They're typically not upset. I mean, you might ask them, but introverts, I would even say this as an extrovert. If I'm sitting in a corner, sometimes by myself, that is my job of self-soothing myself. Or if I need to go for a walk, or if I need to go take a nap, or if I need to get away, that is called self-soothing. And introverts absolutely do that and need that more than extroverts, especially around these big holidays. So if you're one of those families who gets together even for multiple days, like weeks, not weeks, but all week, or even 5 days, there are times when those introverts in particular are going to need time by themselves. They're just going to need to get away. And us extroverts need to not take that personally. It has nothing to do with us. I mean, again, all of this being said of, if you hurt somebody's feelings, you need to apologize. If somebody is hurt or sulking or something and you need to go check on them, obviously that. But if everything is on status quo, everything is healthy and fine, introverts love to sit and observe. They love to sit and observe. It's actually one of their favorite things, is to kind of sit in the corner and watch the happenings of the group. It doesn't mean they're a jerk. It doesn't mean they're antisocial. It doesn't mean they're an asshole. It doesn't mean that they don't like you. It just means that they're staying in their lane and they're taking care of themselves. So I've talked about this for years ad nauseum and mentioned it many times throughout this year. By the way, it's almost a year that I've been doing this podcast. I got a couple more episodes and it'll be a full year. That staying on your side of the net or staying in your lane, however you want to think about it, it's our job. It's our job as to take personal responsibility for ourselves to say, hey guys, I'm super introverted and I'm having an introverted moment. Or even as an extrovert, like, I'm overwhelmed. I'm going to go take a little walk. I'm totally fine. I'm not upset. I'm just going to go take a walk. That is everybody's responsibility. It is your responsibility to say that if you need it. And then it's everyone else's responsibility to freaking let them. Like, don't fucking jump on the other side of the net and manage them and control them and what's wrong with you. And, oh my God, are you upset? And, oh, let me come with you. No, I need to come with you. Oh my God, I don't want you to be alone. Like, just chill. Again, stay on your side of the net or stay in your lane, whatever the verbiage is that you like. Let people be who they are. If extroverts want to be loud and silly and big voices and whatever, let them do that. And if you're an introvert and it's driving you crazy, then go take some time for yourself. But one of the biggest things is quit pretending and acting like everybody is just like you. Like, we need to accept people for who they are. Okay, so that's introversion and extroversion. Let's talk about sensing and intuition. So this is probably, I would say, I don't know. I guess this is still a big one. I was going to say probably less important in families, but that's ridiculous, actually, that I just said that, because this is one of the biggest ones in my family and in my marriage, my husband, is that this was always an issue. So As the only intuitive in my entire family, I am very think outside of the box, big picture. I care about how things feel and how the environment is and what the candles are like and if everybody's having a good time and that kind of feeling and big picture and what we're going to do for, the multiple days we're going to be together is very, very important to me. And what's important to the S's in my family are routine and a schedule and keeping things on pace and on time with church and dinner and presents and all those kinds of things. And so they are very like living in the moment. They are very on task. Everything needs to be just and right. This might come into play when it comes to presence in your family. I don't really know, but sensors are much more just kinds of people, meaning they need justice. So things may need to be fair in terms of giving gifts. Again, some families this may or may not be true, but this is definitely an S quality. Where N's are quite a bit more go with the flow. So this is actually going to tie into the J and P when we get there as well. And so actually, I'm going to jump there very quickly because this is actually a little bit more about the J and the P. So J's, as you guys know, are very organized, decisive decision makers. They're on time. They're scheduled. They like to know what's going on. They like to know what the plan is, almost especially when they've got a house full of people. So they want to know, when are we eating? What are we watching? When are we going to church? What's happening? What's happening tomorrow morning? What does Christmas breakfast look like? All the things are very important to J's. Otherwise, they feel a sense of anxiousness. Where P's, on the other hand, God bless them. I think about them around the holidays and think it's just got to be so much more enjoyable for them than it is for control freak J's like me. So if you're a J, you're probably a control freak and you want to control all the things. When we're opening the presents, when they're eating, when we're doing this, how people are feeling, are you having a good time? All the things. We try to control everything. And P's during this time of year are just so delightful. I think they're just go with the flow and undaunted by surprise. And, we'll eat when the food's ready and don't worry about it. And we'll just kind of get to presents. And there's much more of a flow and a spontaneity to the day. And they may very well show up late to certain things or be late to certain activities or show up late for church or whatever, because that is who they are as people. And in normal life, meaning not the stress of holiday season, this is one where I talk about ad nauseum that we need to be able to balance our J and our P. During the holidays, with heightened intensity of feelings and emotions and things going on and family everywhere, this is one that I would not advise you to work on necessarily balancing, but I would ask you to work on acceptance. So the J's we're going to be mega J, likely. We're going to want to know what's going on and controlling the stuff and when is happening and all of the things. And the P's are likely going to go into even more of chill mode because they can. And so again, instead of trying to balance this is an acceptance of looking at, your sister and knowing that she's a wonderful human being. She just might be a P, and it might drive you batshit crazy that they show up late and they seem undaunted by surprise and they don't really care. And yes, I get it. It's rude. I hear you. I'm that J who gets irritated. And I'm here to say, you can choose to let it go. I think one of the best lessons we can learn during this time of year is that I can choose to get pissed off about all the things that my family may do to irritate me, or I can choose to let it go and have an enjoyable holiday. Because you know whose holiday you're ruining? Yours. Or your spouse's, who has to go to bed at night and listen to you bitch about every godforsaken thing that everybody in your family did wrong. Or you can it's a choice. Do you guys know this? It is literally a choice. You can choose to be pissed off about your brother bringing his, crazy new girlfriend, or, Uncle Bob showing up with a new wife or something. Like, you can be pissed, or you can just choose to frickin' let it go. You can choose to have peace. You can choose to have calm through acceptance. Not everybody is like you. Get over it. I mean, I don't mean to preach. I was about to say, you gotta blah, blah, blah. I will say it for myself too. It is such a sense of relief to allow yourself to say, yep, that irritates the shit out of me, and I'm just gonna let it go. I truly am just gonna let this go, because the only person that's bothering is you. Because quite honestly, that other person probably doesn't even know it. I mean, you can certainly choose to pick a fight and cause, all kinds of issues or whatever, or you can just choose to be the bigger person this holiday and say, hey, I've learned this thing. I watched these videos on this, website at jessicabutts.com. I'm listening to this podcast, and I have learned that this is who I am. I have learned that you are likely different. You can either have this conversation or just have it in your head with yourself. And I am going to choose this year to be above it, to be above the bickering, to be above the finger pointing, to be above the negativity, to be above it by not participating, but just smiling and being happy and being okay. Because you know what you cannot control? Anything. You cannot control other people. You cannot control Bob's and his new girlfriend or your son. Who cares? Get over it. You can choose to ruin your holiday by being pissed about the fact that there's no green beans or whatever, or your aunt is so loud, or, Bob is so introverted and weird and in the corner and irritating, or you can just frickin' get over it and find some self-soothing inner peace. So I skipped thinking and feeling. I'll talk about it now. I feel like I just kind of ended the podcast right there, but I didn't finish talking about what I wanted to talk about. I get on such a freaking soapbox with this shit. Okay, let me finish with thinking and feeling. Sorry, thinking and feeling. So this is the one about making decisions. So this is a huge one around the holidays. So as you know, this is one that is roughly 66 to 75% of men are thinkers, and roughly 66 to 75% of women are feelers. So regardless of your gender, thinkers and feelers think about things and make decisions very, very differently. So thinkers make decisions with their head, and feelers make decisions with their hearts. And I just actually had a wonderful, amazing VIP client over here. She hires me once a quarter. I've got a bunch of these, but she's one of my favorites. And she was here yesterday for her quarterly meeting, and they come in quarterly, and we go for it for 3 hours, and we dissect their business, what's going on, and I tell them what's next. I give them a shitload of work, homework up the yin yang, and they leave and they come back every quarter. So anyway, she was here, and she is a very strong thinking woman. And it was just refreshing and hilarious to talk to her as a strong feeling woman about how much she just doesn't want to hug, and doesn't want to talk about the emotions, and doesn't want to talk about the feelings, and doesn't want to have to learn about her employees' lives and their kids and all the stuff. She's like, it's not like I'm a bitch. I just don't want to talk about this stuff. I want to get down to business. So put that intensity into your home, where you might have a large family dynamic, and there's some thinkers that are very logical when it comes to gift giving, when it comes to decisions about going to church or when to go to bed or when to open presents. And then there's all these feelers about how is everybody feeling, and how does, Aunt Judy feel, and, how does my dad feel, and how does, the preteens, how are they doing? It is a completely different way of making decisions. Feelers make decisions with their feelings, as well as factoring in everybody else's decisions, where thinkers, that is exhausting to them. So if you're an introverted thinker, this is a lot of time when all of the hugs and the loves and all of the stuff starts to happen. That might be a really great time to just go for a walk. Like, it becomes like decision fatigue, right? Of like, I don't really care. I love you guys. I'm going to go for a walk, or I'm going to go upstairs and take a nap or something. Because again, I think this is a Dr. Philism. I've done a couple of his this week, is that you can choose to be right, or you can choose to be happy. And it doesn't mean you let people walk all over you. I mean, obviously, I would never, ever suggest that. I'm a super strong, sassy woman. So it's not about that. But it's also about picking your frickin' battles. Like, is it worth fighting over, who your uncle brought, or whoever, whatever the thing is it worth getting that upset about things? And again, you get to answer that question for yourself. If it is, then I don't know, you're going to have a heart attack and die early, because that amount of stress is just not worth it. It's just not worth it. So again, I think I will end here of letting yourself decide, are you going to accept your family around the holidays? Are you going to accept yourself for who you are around the holidays, and not trying to pretend to be something other than you are? If you are an introvert and need some time away, go do that. If you love, love, love all of the wonderful extrovertedness, then do that. If you, want to if you want to be organized and to have the dinner at the certain time and do all of those things, again, it's about showing up as who you are, but not expecting everybody else to be like you. All right, my friends. It is 2 weeks before Christmas. I hope you are enjoying this holiday season and doing whatever it is that makes you feel wonderful around this time of year. So that is it for me. I will see you guys next week. From the bottom of my heart, truly, thank you so much for listening. I know that you have a ton of options, and the fact that you are taking time to listen to the Front Seat Life podcast means absolutely everything to me. If you're interested in learning more about the Front Seat Life way of life in the community, there's a couple ways that you can do that. First is always starting with your personality assessment tool. It's available on my website at jessicabutts.com. It's totally free, and it will help you figure out your personality type, so you'll have some idea of what we're talking about. Next is, if you're interested in hiring me for a keynote or some coaching or strategy days, or the fabulous and amazing Front Seat Life community, you can find out all about all of that at jessicabutts.com. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time.